Greetings, friends, and welcome to another edition of Moments in the Word. Today I want to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about a very serious yet very important subject, and that is how we treat people. I want you to take just a couple of seconds and reflect upon this question. How do I treat the people in my life? Maybe in this couple of seconds, God has shown you that you don't treat people quite the way you should. Do you know that the Bible tells us that people know that we are Christians by our love for one another? They don't know that we're Christians by the bumper stickers on our car, by the t-shirts that we wear, or even by the sermons that we preach them. People know that we truly belong to Christ when they see us treat other people with respect, honor, and love. I know sometimes that is hard to do, but God does not give us any concessions in His Word to love only the lovable. Instead, we are commanded over and over and over again to love everybody, to love our enemies, to pray for our enemies, to bless our enemies. Nowhere does God make concession for us to treat other people kindly only when they seem deserving of it. Do you know that the way we treat people is such a serious matter to God that when Jesus took the time to give His famous Sermon on the Mount, that He paused there for a few minutes to teach the people the importance of how they approached God. And one of the things He shows us in Matthew chapter 5 is that we cannot approach God in worship or with sacrifice if there is any kind of contention between us and another human being. Matthew chapter 5 verses 23 and 24 tells a very telling story. Jesus said, "If you come in to offer a gift to the Father, if you come in to bring a sacrifice, and if you come in to bring worship, and in that moment remember that there is some kind of ill feelings between you and another person, stop what you're doing, set your gift of worship aside, go and be reconciled to your brother. Then and only then may you come back and worship God the way you had longed to do." Wow, that's pretty serious business. God does not even accept our sacrifices of worship if we have knowing contention between us and another human being. And if we ignore that contention, not doing what is within our power to do to make it right, God does not receive our praise. He expects us to get our relationships with people right before we get our relationship with Him right. Now, I know some of you may be saying in this moment, yes, but I've tried that. I've gone and tried to make reconciliation with someone who has ill feelings towards me, and they won't have anything of it. So am I now in bondage and can't worship God because of their feelings towards me? And my answer to that is no, absolutely not. The only thing that is required on your part is that you do what God has asked you to do to live peaceably with all men. If you have taken the steps to make sure that contention is lessened in your life between you and another individual, if you have made apologies for things that you have done wrong, ways that you have harmed someone else, and things that you have done to mar the character of someone else, if you have made restitution and done everything that God has asked you to do, and that person still walks in bitterness and unforgiveness towards you, then the issue becomes between them and God. You are now free to worship God and to be accepted into a restored relationship with Him. But if you know that you have purposely harmed another person, lied about them, marred their character, stolen from them, stolen their reputation, all kinds of things that we can do to offend and hurt people. If you know that you have done that and that someone is genuinely upset at you, offended at you, or saddened by the conduct that you have done, you are responsible to make it right. And if you refuse to do that and believe that you can go on happily your merry way worshiping God, you are fooling yourself. Because God does not receive your worship when that is still an issue in your life. Now, I am not speaking of offenses that come when we speak truth to people in love, because there are times that people are going to get offended at us even when we have not intentionally done anything wrong. But I am speaking of those type of arguments and the things that come between us and another person that is simply done out of hateful actions or ill will. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. So friends, I encourage you, if God has shown you through this devotional that there's some strife going on between you and another individual, and there's maybe some apologies that you need to make, some restitution for things that you have done, then I encourage you strongly to do that as soon as you can. Even today, pick up the phone and make it right. Because until you do, God does not receive the gift that you are trying to offer him. Don't let anything stand between you and your relationship with God. Go and be reconciled to your brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next time for another edition of Moments in the Word. Blessings.
Mr. Good Intentions, so much I wanna do. My mouth just keeps on running, but I never follow through.